Hello everyone and welcome to Battle of the Beasts All Generation episode number 21. I am Adam and today I got two interesting competitors here for you. Now with this I have a good idea who's going to win, but it could be either one of them. But let's just introduce our competitors and then we'll get to the stats and we'll list their weaknesses as well. Well, I will list their weaknesses and then we'll decide a battlefield and then we'll go to the battle. Cutting it short and sweet this time. So, representing Series 2, the Golden Armour, the premiere book of Series 2 as well, or book number 1, Zepha, the Monster Squid. And, on the other side, representing Series 11, the New Age. Most of you probably lost interest already because the New Age isn't that good of a series. But, this is a good book. Book number 3 is Brutus, the Hound of Horror. So yeah, we've got two rather okay beasts here. Well, two rather good beasts here. I actually like both of these beasts. Brutus being one of the shining stars of Series 11, and Zepha was being one of the worst of Series 11. I actually still kind of like, but that's because Cthulhu and all that. So, also giant version of the Kraken or the squid in Finding Dory. So yeah, I can go on. But yeah, so far with their teammates, representing Series 2, Claw, Sultra, Arachnid, Claw, Sultra and Arachnid have already fought, and only Sultra has made it through. So Zepha makes it, he'll be the second one. For Series 11, Elko and Tarek are the only ones that fought, and Elko is the only one that made it through. So, yeah, they both have one team member that's already made it through. However, more of Series 2 has been eliminated. So with that out of the way, let's get to the stats.
Zepha, the Monster Squid. The powerful tentacles of Zepha, the Monster Squid, churns the waters of the Western Ocean, creating whirlpools and even changing the direction of the currents. The people of the fishing villages went hungry because the Monster Squid had scared away so many fish. Luckily, Tom and Eleanor were able to defeat the beast. Now, onto the stats. Underwater breathing, whirlpool generation, change water current, squid tentacles, slimy fake hide that can take attacks from Saffron, ink generation, blinds his enemies, enhanced strength, take attacks from Saffron. Let's see how he does in the tournament.
Brutus, the Hound of Horror. Brutus is a giant dog who hides in the fog of the marshlands of Hangcrow. Some say he can actually turn into a dog to evade capture or sneak upon his victims. He hovers in the air on his huge leathery wings, which waft a suffocating stink. Brutus was made by the sorceress Kensa, using the blood of Epos the Flamebird. Now onto his stats. Flight, fog generation, which can control fog and turn into it. Canine control, fog breath, sharp claws, sharp fangs, and putrid smelling wings, make him one deadly opponent in the tournament.
3, 2, 1!
Let's get to the battle. Okay, now we're going to go to their weaknesses now. So Zepha, his weaknesses are water requirement. Being a water beast, Zepha cannot go onto land, obviously. Durability limits, limited durability. And tentacle removal. So Zepha's tentacles can be cut off. For Brutus's weaknesses, he has highly flammable fur, and his heart is covered by a weak flesh. So yeah, I think that's the weakness of every Series 11 beast here. But that's what they get for being rip-offs of the originals, even though some may be better. I'm not referring to Brutus being better than the one it's based off, because I believe this one is a recreation of Epos or Ferno, one of them. But they're the best of Series 1, so can't really say that, yeah, okay. For Battlefield, I'm probably gonna have to do it. The clock arena from the Hunger Games catching fire. That way Brutus has some land to go on and Zepha has some water to be in. So with that, So as both the chamber doors open, Zepha goes out through the underwater exit and just makes his way to the center of the arena. Listening carefully for any vibrations or noises coming from above. Whilst Brutus goes out through the sky door, and whilst flapping his wings, he's trying to see his opponent, which he could guess is in the water because, well, water. Well, there'll be tons of water there. There's not going to be any. Yeah. Hold on, just checking something. Zepha sees Brutus, and to catch him off guard, what he does is that he squirts ink towards Brutus. Brutus sees that though, and turns himself into fog just so it'll go right through him, and he won't need to. So he won't get affected by it. He then retaliates by going back to his normal form and diving right down towards the ground, and carefully making his way along the spokes, just to be greeted by one of Zepha's giant tentacles coming down to crush him. Brutus jumps out of the way, and using his claws and fangs, he bites and slashes at it, drawing blood from Zepha. Zepha retaliates and draws his tentacle back, and out of anger, what he does is that he uses his tentacles to cut off both the spokes, both sides of the spoke that Brutus is on. So Brutus is now trapped on a little island. Brutus, not knowing what he can possibly do, just waits for a sign or an opportunity to get away without trying to fly, because flying's for cowards. Zepha makes his way out of the water, and locks eyes with Brutus. Brutus growls at Zepha. Zepha makes a loud moaning noise, let's say, just like a kind of thing, or a growl, let's say, I don't know. Zepha lifts forth his tentacles and goes to slam them all down on Brutus. Brutus turns to fog to avoid all of them, and the island he was on gets completely destroyed. He goes back to his tangible form and flies on top of Zepha's head, and using his claws, he sinks him into the top of Zepha's head, scratching, biting. He even gets Zepha's eyes as well, just scratching them out. Zepha is roaring in pain, using his tentacles to just slap Brutus off. However, what Brutus does when he sees a tentacle coming his way, he bites down on it with all his force and chomps right through it. Zepha lifts up his tentacles and squirts ink towards his face. Brutus sees that and jumps out of the way, or flies out of the way, just for Zepha to blind himself with his own ink. And Brutus instantly comes back down and starts digging and clawing at Zepha's face or eye, between his eyes, just going right in there, causing blood to spill everywhere. And he's keeps going before Zepha's limbs are gradually going a lot slower. And what Zepha does, he goes to wrap his tentacles around Brutus. However, Brutus is able to get out of the way, and Zepha wraps himself in his own tentacles. Brutus then, what he does is that he bites down on top of Zepha and tears out a huge chunk of flesh. It's then Zepha submerges himself underwater, and Brutus flies out of the way, but the damage has already been done. Zepha is so badly wounded with so much blood seeping out through all of his scratches and chomps, let's say, that he's starting to bleed out. And in one last resort, what Zepha does, he lifts up one tentacle and goes to slap Brutus out of the air, slam him into the water. However, Brutus saw that coming, and instead of flying out of the way, he used his claws to slash right through that tentacle. The tentacle that's joint to Zepha and the part of the tentacle which isn't, both fall down to the water, and Brutus sees and hears nothing more. Brutus has won, Zepha has lost. You think Zepha should have won? Please leave in comments below why you think that. However, my word's final and Brutus is going on to the next round. Really, while Zepha did have a chance in winning, I think Brutus should deserve the victory because he's able to avoid Zepha's attacks by turning into fog. That way his attacks could pass right through him. And like with the ghost abilities, if you become intangible, you can't attack. You can't attack and you won't be able to move. So that's the rules when it comes to ghost form or intangibility, let's say. And hopefully I'll actually stick to that rule this time. But with that was Zepha versus Brutus. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the little notification bell down in the corner below, and I'll see you next time.